Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special interview on Sky Sports. I'm talking to someone I've just found out he's just got a couple more social media followers than I am. Niall Horan, good morning from LA.
Good morning. Good to see you, pal. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate your time. As I said, you're in LA. Just very quickly, we're going to talk everything golf in a moment. Are golf courses and ranges open in LA?
Yes. I feel bad for saying that. Yes, they are. They are. I don't know for how long. You never know with the different restrictions. But I have played a couple of rounds of golf recently, and it's been very nice.
Dear. Well, that's where the interview ends, Niall. Thanks for coming on. It's
Yeah.
been
See you
it's
later.
been great talking
Yeah.
to you.
Thanks for having me. See you later.
No, let's come on to look, the reason we're talking about the breaking news this week is that Modest Management, who you created, is now
Mhm.
working with the RNA in basically helping grassroots golf in this country and trying to get more youngsters in the game and staying in the game. Tell us a bit how this all came about.
Yeah, well, I've been thinking about some ideas to grow the game for a long time. How do we come up with different initiatives to get people into the game and, get younger people into the game and make it more accessible and et cetera, et cetera. But, wondering where that help was going to come from, and you need a governing body to help you do so. Anyway, forward on a couple of years, I get a call from the RNA, and it was the most incredible call because it was kind of the call I've been waiting for. And the RNA, wanted to know would we come on board and kind of help them in the growth of the game, and get involved in some initiatives and come up with ideas alongside them, to grow the game, as I said, make it accessible for everyone, and try and get rid of that kind of thing that's been holding golf back for a long time, which is that it's a boring sport, and it's just for the old boys and all of that kind of thing. So it was kind of to freshen things up and yeah, make it more accessible, as I said.
This is a decision that it's not something you've just made. You've said this since 2016, since Modest started, that you wanted to get more kids involved in golf. Does this seem a bit like a dream come true almost to you?
Yeah, exactly. Sums it up right there. Myself and Mark McDonald, who started Modest Golf, we'd always been talking about how we could do it, how we could, there's only so much we can do, without getting major help. And when we got the phone call, from the RNA, and I seen it pop up, I was like, this is amazing. We've got a new team in there, new marketing team, and obviously Martin is doing a great job. And it was great to get on the call and see that we're all on the same page. It's just how we get it off the ground. And they said, maybe you could help us. It would be great. As you said, I've been saying it for years. It's just, how do you do that? And when you got golf's one of golf's biggest governing bodies, and a young, fresh management company, trying to move the needle at the same time, it can only hopefully create good things, I think.
I mean, before this lockdown that we're currently in, golf was booming, really, especially here in the UK. Driving ranges were full. The one I go to, I had to queue for 15, 20 minutes just to get in. There were
Yeah.
so many youngsters there. It was great to see. Tell us, Niall, why do youngsters maybe find it so hard to remain in golf? They like it at first, but why do they find it so
Yeah.
hard to stick with it?
It has been known to be quite a stuffy sport over the years. A lot of stuff that happens within clubs. Juniors are sometimes kind of frowned upon a little bit. And it's hard to keep people interested in that kind of thing. It's very easy to sit and watch golf and watch these superstars, you know, ripping it down fairways and stuff like that. But it's trying to stay in the game, and if you're, when it's not as accessible to you, and your driving range is the only thing you can do, it can be sometimes tough. I think it's more of a stigma thing. Like, I think the stigma of golf has kind of held it back. When you start playing golf, as you well know, um, it becomes addictive, and I think it's trying to get people over that line and giving them initiatives that help them stay in the game, and some of the ideas that we've got in mind will hopefully bring a lot more new people into the game, and a lot of younger people, any types of people, and hopefully keep them there. um I mean, it's a longer conversation than this to why they don't stick around, But hopefully we can try and move that needle at some point.
Do you think there's also maybe an intimidation as well for youngsters going to maybe clubs or ranges or
Yeah,
whatever, holding them back as well?
100%. I remember being a junior when I was, when I was a kid, and you were kind of looking over your shoulder to see who was looking at you. You kind of everyone was kind of treating you like, and I wouldn't say everyone, but the odd person to be treating you like a child in a way. I know you were, but you have to be kind of trusted at the same time. It is one of those sports, um, and it can be quite intimidating. A lot of these clubs are built for the older guy or lady, to as a social place as well as their golf, and it can be kind of tough for a youngster to turn up. Luckily enough, when I joined a golf club, two or three of my mates joined at the exact same time. We all said we were going to do it, to kind of take that away. So to kind of take that fear factor away, and one of the best decisions I've ever made.
One other thing, which whenever it comes up on social media or in any kind of news, and we speak about it on the podcast a lot, is fashion. It goes, I don't know why fashion, but it always goes crazy, that subject. Is that another
Does
reason maybe why youngsters don't like golf or can't get into it? Because I mean, I've got a hoodie on here. You talk about
yeah.
hoodies. When Tyrrell won at Wentworth, he wore a hoodie, and that was the biggest news rather
Yeah.
than his win. Is that something that youngsters feel like maybe that's why they can't get into the game?
A lot of that would be, there's a dress code to a lot of places. There's a dress code to a lot of places, and people might not own a colored top or slacks or proper golf shoes or whatever, and that can be quite tough. And as we sit here, a lot of that stuff is quite expensive, and it can be quite tough. Tyrrell, there's a reason, as you said, everyone was talking about the hoodie more so than the win, as it was such a big thing. To me, obviously not, because you know I don't see it as a big deal. Obviously, to maybe a different generation, it could potentially be an issue, but it was just amazing to see like golfers taking it in, and Tyrrell's just like, he doesn't care what he wears. He wants to hit the shots and stay warm, and it looked great. By the way, the hoodie looked amazing, and Adidas were obviously delighted with the traction from it. It was incredible. But yeah, it would be, if more stories like this Tyrrell story can come about, before you know it, the needle starts to move, and everything starts to relax a little bit. It's amazing, like I'm a member at Wentworth, and years in years past, people would think of Wentworth as like more of a stuffy place. I walk into the grill room there at the moment, and they've got Tyrrell picture of him over the fireplace with the hoodie on, and it just shows you that it's becoming a younger game. And I mean, all you have to do is look at the top 20 players in the world. They're all sort of my age, in their 20s, some in their early 30s, but it's still a very young game. And as I said, things like the Tyrrell story will start to move the needle on that fashion thing, because there is a lot of fashion conscious people out there.
Oh, God, yeah. It's always a hot topic. I
Yeah.
mean, one other thing that in this initiative is you getting the social media idols, shall we say, and influencers involved a lot more. Are the youngsters these days seeing social media stars as the idols rather than the people at the top of the sport?
I think there's a good combo. I think there's a combo of that. I mean, I follow a lot of the professional golfers to see what they're up to in their spare time, hitting different types of shots, etc., etc. But there is a lot of, like, say, people like myself, actors, other singers, Justin Timberlake, for instance, or Gareth Bale. There's a lot of these young sports stars, movie stars, singers that play the game, and are highly addicted, like I am. And I think that if you follow them, you see that as well. I think they're an important part of this, because you know it would be amazing if when we start these initiatives, that the pro golfers come on, because they're so invaluable to it. Imagine having like a Rory involved here, or a Tiger, or whoever it is, to really change the game. but also the influence of some of these people that we mentioned previously, because they're so important. They're massive in their fields. They open us up to a different type of demographic. I would say that probably 80% of my Twitter following is say 18 to 30-year-olds, and you have the same way Justin Timberlake, maybe a bit older, and Gareth Bale, all the football people, and it just helps open up more doors for us, I think, in terms of growing the game.
I mean, come on, Niall. Who is in the entertainment industry? Who's the best golfer that you've played with?
God,
Apart
that's
from
a good
yourself.
question. In the entertainment industry, I mean, Justin Timberlake's pretty good. I play with him quite regularly, and he's pretty solid. When he's not on stage or shooting movies or something, you'll find him in the grill room of a clubhouse somewhere. He does love it. He's kind of like myself, but also the best golfer I've ever seen is Andrei Shevchenko, ex-footballer.
Ooh.
He's proper. I think he might be scratch or better. He looks like a tour pro, to be honest.
I think he might have played in like the Russian Open or something like that on the European Tour, possibly before. He got like an invite or something, I want to say. I don't
There
think
is
he made
something
the
like
cut.
that. I heard noise of him like playing for. I think he's from the Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. I think there was talk about him playing in the Olympics for the Ukraine or something like this. I'm not quite sure, but I heard that was a thing. But he wouldn't do too bad. He's a hell of a golfer.
Yeah. One other thing on celebrity golfers. Who's the biggest bandit you've played with as well? On a high handicap, but blatantly is better than that. Come on, name names, Niall.
Kevin
Don't
Peterson.
hold back.
Kevin Peterson. He's
Yes.
he's unbelievable. He's probably still going around telling everyone he's off 10. But he plays more golf than he does cricket. He's a good golfer, to be fair to him. He's had a lot of lessons in the last couple of years, and he's got himself good. But he's a cash player, so he's probably still telling people he's playing off 9 or 10.
You mentioned it a minute ago, Noel, about your fans. I mean, when you tweeted about this initiative you're doing, the RNA, I looked at some of the tweets from your fans, and someone said, when music superstar Horan says golf is cool, it's cool. And someone else said, and suddenly I'm joining my school's golf team. Is this a regular thing where you get fans come up to you and they say, look, I've taken up golf just because of you?
Yeah. And I'm actually really proud of it. It's not like a tap on the back type thing. It's more like it shows that if I've got 40 odd million followers on Twitter, probably 70 million accumulatively, if we can get 1 or 2% of those to pick up a golf club, you hit 1% of a lot of people is a lot of people, and it'll be amazing to see. And I've had meet and greets, and people will come in with even like golf presents for me, or they'll tell me that they've just started going to their local range, or got some clubs from somewhere, or just to see what it's like. And they'll be posting videos to me on Instagram and things like that, and that's huge. And as we said earlier, the same people are doing the same thing to Gareth Bale, and the same thing are doing the same thing to Justin Timberlake and whoever it is. And it's amazing to see. And as you said, in the last sort of year with the lockdown in place, golf was the number one sport. Anyone I spoke to, I was walking down, you go for your walk or whatever, your exercise, and you'd pass a fellow going into a train station with golf clubs in his shoulder. It's on its way back, and it would be great to see the needle start to move in all aspects, whether it be fashion or how it's perceived or accessibility, and whatever myself, Modest and the RNA can do to help that, we'll try.
I mean, there were so many people I couldn't get a tea time for ages. Damn people.
Amazing, isn't it? The driving range queue was the maddest one to me. I know you have to keep separate, and all that, but like I remember the queue was out in the car park at World of Golf in New Malden at one point. It was just it was mad.
Yeah, it was crazy. Quickly onto you in golf, Niall. How did you get into golf yourself initially?
Well, my grandmother had a little pitch and putt course next to her house, and we used to squeeze in under the barbed wire fence and with a wedge and a putter and chip around there, and that's basically how I got into it. very easy for me to get into it, to be fair. I'm Irish, probably one of the national sports. And also when I was a kid, when I was, say, 9 or 10, um, Tiger Woods was in his absolute prime. So I'm watching that on
Mm.
Sunday and trying to replicate it on Monday, you know? And it was a very easy sport for us to get into. And I remember when we were kids, you'd see more Sunday red at golf, you know, at junior level than anywhere else. And that's how we got into it. You know, I joined the local club um, with two of my mates from primary school, and kind of in that year where we were, you know, yeah, about 10, 11, somewhere like that. And just fell in love with it. You know, they give you a handicap and you start competing, you know, on a Tuesday and a Thursday in summer competitions that we had. And it was just a really good social, made a lot of friends for life through golf. And it was just a really good way of, you know, getting through the summer, and we'd play 36 holes a day. And before you know it, the handicap starts to go down. Then get a little bit busier. Um, Something happened, and we became a little bit busier. But we would use golf as our, you know, getaway from hotels and stuff. There was obviously a lot of attention around hotels, etc. So we would use golf to, you know, get in behind the gates and hit balls and, you know, relax for a few hours. And then I became properly in love with it, and which turned into me, you know, get my handicap lower and then start my own golf company.
Came round pretty quickly. Were any of the other boys in One Direction any good, or would you say you were the best?
Yeah, well, Harry played. Do you know what? I haven't seen him play golf in a while, so I don't know if he's still playing, but he was good. You know, we were two of us at the time. The two of us were, you know, 18, 20 handicappers.
Mm.
I've significantly dropped. Thank God. I'm not sure where he's at, but we would just use it as a great social. It's just so fun. Like, it just, whether you're hacking it around or, you know, if you hit that one good shot out of your 110 shots, it
Yeah.
makes you want to come back. You know, if you can swipe one off the tee or hit a lovely 3-wood or strike an iron well and hit it close, you know, it can make you want to come back. And it's a very frustrating game, as we know. It never gets any easier. You get to a certain level, it knocks you back. But you know, it's just the enjoyment that I've always gotten out of it, and the friends that I've made through golf has made it all worthwhile, I suppose.
Mm. Am I right in thinking as well, Niall, that you've played a few rounds at Augusta as well?
You know, every golf related interview I do, I get asked about this, and I feel like I'm just kicking people every time I say it. Um, it I nearly don't want to talk about it because I know how, if you're a golf nut like I am, how much it must hurt to listen to me saying how privileged I am to play Augusta National. um, yes, I have. I've been so lucky to have played Augusta on multiple occasions over the last sort of
Mm.
7 or 8 years. And attended this year, or the last Masters would have been my 7th year in a row. So
Wow.
um,
Wow.
it's just the holy grail
Mm.
of golf, and you feel it when you drive through the gates of Augusta. You know, it's just pristine. The undulation was another big thing that everyone always talks about that you don't really see on TV. I don't know if the cameras will ever be able to pull off how undulated it is, but just the feeling of being there. And it's probably one of very few courses that I could tell you shot for shot, 1 to 18, what shape the hole is, where bunkers are. And I was very lucky to have played it, and played some horrible golf and some great golf there as well. So yeah, very privileged and grateful for that one.
Sounds like you're asking for a membership there to me, Niall.
I'd take a green jacket if it was flying around. I don't care how I get
I'll
it.
see what I can do. I'll give him a call and I'll see what
Well,
I can
cheers,
do,
man.
Niall. I mean, linked in with Augusta is the drive, chip, and putt, which is something that happens
Yeah.
every year before the main event starts. Something you've been to before, and you've been to the Women's Amateur in 2019 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did you almost use that as an inspiration for this initiative now that you're doing with the R&A to try and get that kind of enthusiasm in this country as well?
Yeah, 100%. Um, as I said to you at the start, I've been talking about getting these initiatives off the ground for a while. It's how you do it, and I think I wouldn't say I was shocked, but I'm delighted that it was two of the bigger governing bodies or profiles in the game, whether it be Augusta National or the RNA. You know, if they're first to the table, it just shows that they really believe that we can change the game, and I think so too. Um, they got me involved in Augusta National. Got me involved in the drive, chip, and putt, which is incredible. You know, a drive, chip, and putt series for young kids from 6 or 7 right up to 15, I think it is. And watching these kids go and sit in local competitions all over the country, and then the final of it is at the Sunday before the Masters, as you may know. And it's initiatives like that to get kids into the game, and the talent on display is just incredible. So I'm looking forward to getting stuff going like that with the RNA, and the RNA have been really great. The new team in there, and I had a great chat with Martin Slumbers. He really is really into moving the game, moving the needle in the game, and I think we can, if we can do the right things, get to the right people, and get people into the game, and we can do this. It's a great sport, as we know. It's becoming. We're going to try and make it more accessible to everyone, and yeah, it's going to be a fun project that we've got going on here.
Just a couple more questions now, and I'll let you go.
Right.
Last thing on the Masters as well. You've obviously got millions of fans, ridiculous amount, and they go potty when they see you. Have you done that towards a golfer at all? And I'm probably thinking I know who the golfer's going to be, and some people might not know this story, but go on.
Well, I don't know what your story is. Explain the story.
I'm going to reckon it's Tiger. Is my thought, because you have met him, haven't you?
Yeah. Yes, Tiger is. When I met Tiger, I was like blown away. I'm not gonna lie. Tiger, when he walks, he floats. He doesn't even he doesn't walk with a big thud like everyone else. He just kind of floats along. And when I was caddying for Rory at the Masters in 2015, I think it was, or maybe even earlier, 2014. Rory brought me over and introduced me to Tiger, and I was not gonna lie, very starstruck. I wouldn't say I get starstruck often by like singers, actors, or sports stars or anything like that. But when I met Tiger, I was pretty blown away, and I've met him a couple of times since. And he's a lovely man, and he's the reason that a lot of people my age, and definitely me, picked up the game of golf in the first place.
I've always wondered this now. What did you say to him? I don't know. I've never met Tiger. I don't know what I'd say to him. I think just stuff would come out my mouth. I don't think it'd be words or a sentence. What did you say to him?
Just, I hope you're, literally, I'm stumbling over what I even said now. Just like the usual driving range talk. Just, hope you play well this week. Pleasure to meet you. Yeah. And all that kind of stuff. And in my head, I'm thinking about every Sunday night that I stayed up late to watch that guy do magic. And that's all coming kind of rushing to me at once. And especially on the hallowed ground at Augusta National, the magic that he's put on there over the years. And it was just all a bit too much for me, to be honest.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great.
Going
to Modest. Going to Modest, Niall, and the management company you set up. Can you tell us how Modest came about in the first place in 2016?
Yeah, I'm obviously a huge fan of golf. I was spending a bit of time around the tour with some of the guys that I know there, and kind of hearing stories of some of these young guys coming through that were kind of feeling like they weren't being managed very well, and struggling with invites and travel, and because as we know, it can be a tough sport if you're not playing very well at that kind of Challenge Tour, European Tour level. It could be a tough sport to be in financially as well. So it was kind of helping that kind of thing, and then I was like, I feel like I could help, and I want to see a lot of these young guys succeed. So I went to the owners of my music management company, Richard and Harry, and said, I really want to set up a golf management company and manage some young up and coming talent, and yeah, basically, hopefully we could do some great stuff. And I knew Mark McDonald, who was working with TaylorMade at the time, and kind of a respected kind of family in the English golf world, if you like. with his brother managing Justin Rose, etc. And they grew up at Northants with him. And I'd known these guys for a while, so I was like, maybe we could get Mark to do it. So myself and Mark and Richard and Harry sat down and talked about how we could get this off the ground. And we knew a lot of people within TaylorMade and Callaway and the manufacturing teams, and it was kind of like, obviously some of those guys would like some of the best players, so it was kind of keeping in touch with those guys, seeing who was coming through the amateur ranks. And yeah, we got told about our first player, Guido Migliozzi. Guido was like the number one Italian amateur, kind of won tournaments all over Europe. This handsome Italian guy, and he was a hot commodity around Europe at the time, and was kind of persuading him to come and, play with us. And then once we get that going, Guido was a Challenge Tour player. We got him some invites. He started playing very well. Then he started missing cuts for a while, and before you know it, he's won 2 times in the European Tour and a solid European Tour player. And it was kind of those experiences of, going through the mill with some of these young guys that got us to where we are now. And it's a solid firm in Europe. It's a solid firm in Europe, hopefully, and yeah, hopefully doing good things. Feels like it.
I mean, it's a chat for another time, but there's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes of golfers. As you said, there's a lot of struggles that they go through that we don't know about, and people who watch and think, they just turn up at tournaments and do stuff. It's not. There's a lot of money and time that goes into the golfers, and it's just, they don't get the opportunity sometimes, as you said, which is great. And look, you've had 14 global wins now, Modest. Like Tyrrell, as you said, Guido as well, who's won twice. 14 in that short space of time is pretty incredible.
It is mad, yeah, when you think about it. We've had wins in all sorts. You had Leona win in the Sumatra Tour, which was incredible. Leona Maguire, who's had an unbelievable amateur career, and we were so lucky to get her. Killed 2 birds with 1 stone there. We had an Irish girl as well and a great golfer, which was amazing. And then just watching the boys kick on, it's just been unbelievable. I'm always into like hard workers and believe that there's if you think you're working hard, there's 5 billion people out there working harder than you. So you have to have that mentality. And these with the guys we've got are guys and girls we've got are just such great hard workers. And you see it there. We're so lucky to now have Tyrrell, and Tyrrell has been working so hard in his game. And after he had his wrist operation, he worked so hard in his game and his fitness, and watching him do what he's done, having 4 wins in the last sort of 15 months, is an incredible achievement. And he's now in the top 5 in the world, and he's on fire again this week. And yeah, it's and those younger guys and girls can really, once it's close to home, they can really look up to him. And since he's come on board, we've had European Tour wins, left, right, and centre, and it's been amazing.
When you first started Modest, Niall, what was that initial reaction like from other people? Did they take you seriously?
I think in the golf world, it would have been perceived, and I don't know, but judging some of the tough conversations we had at the start and kind of getting it off the ground, I think there was definitely a perception of this guy, from the band is just going to come here and try and, get his foot in the door, and he hasn't got a clue, and he won't be sticking around too long, and he won't, put his money where his mouth is, and kind of, that kind of thing. And it was tough at the start. For the first sort of 18 months, it was very tough, and you're also trying to persuade some of these guys who are been, poached left, right, and centre from different management companies that you're the best fit for them. Whilst not really having any players, it can be quite a tough ask in an industry that's already very well established. But hard work and realizing the points of difference that we had within the management company, within the music management company, whether it be the social media team, the marketing team, the corporate team, that we have a travel team that we already have in place, is what a lot of these young golfers need. That I can't hit the ball in the hole for them. I can't shape a 6-yard draw. I wish I could, but I can't. But I can help them with all the other aspects, whether basically off the course, getting them places, getting them their sponsorship, getting them into tournaments so they can show off show off their great game. Because as we can see, a lot of these professional golfers are all nearly all as equally as gifted. It's just who's got it up there, and if you can get some of the struggles that they have off course sorted, it really does help the on course stuff.
I mean, I've spoke about Modest a lot on the podcast, and I just think you're a very refreshing management team. You got the same prize fund event, ISPS World Hand Invitational, Clutch Pro Tour you're involved in. You have the Horan and Rose charity event. You know, you support so much, and but half of somebody who's in golf, I just want to say thank you, because I think it's really great how you're supporting the younger golfers who maybe wouldn't get a chance elsewhere.
No, and thanks for saying that. I really appreciate it. You know, I'm a as much of a golf nut as everyone watching this podcast right now. I watch more golf than any professional golfer, and it's a sport that I love, and I feel very passionate about it, and I want to see some of these young people succeed, because I know how tough it is to succeed. So the more we can help, the better. And the World Invitational is going to be fun. We'll be announcing something in the coming weeks, and it's going to be an amazing thing. And having equals prize money in Europe for the first time is pretty cool, and I'm happy that we're a part of that.
Absolutely. Last question, I'll let you go, Niall. You're from Mullingar in Ireland, but why on earth do you support Derby County?
Every single English person I've ever met has said that to me. What? Why Derby? My dad is 60. I hope he doesn't mind me saying. So he was 61 this year. So when he was 9 or 10, we were the best team in the country. We're under Brian Clough, and that kind of team. We were one of the best teams in the country, and he was kind of getting to that age where he was very impressionable, and etc. And Derby County became his team, and he became crazed about it. He started going to games a lot, and going over on ferries, etc. And then got us into it. And we've been season ticket holders at Derby since I was 5 or 6. And then we just would go nearly every other week to games. Now, we didn't have a lot of money, but a lot of it was put aside to go and watch Derby County. I'm happy with that. It was at a time when Man United and Liverpool were very dominant teams in Ireland, and I'm glad we kind of stood out from the crowd.
Yeah, I wonder if Wayne Rooney will be the next Brian Clough. I'm not sure. I'm not sure myself.
Well, I don't know. I mean, a few weeks ago he was playing in the team. Now he's managing it. We'll see what happens. I mean, I love Wayne. I mean, he was a hell of a footballer. What a career that fella had. Probably doesn't get the plaudits that he deserves, really. One of the greatest players to ever grace the Premier League, and now he's seeing him standing in a Derby County kit is just the weirdest thing of all time. But it's been an interesting few years at Derby, so hopefully we can kind of kick on now with Wayne and get a few players, and there's a potential takeover happening, and we'll see what happens. I'm not going to speak too soon, because it's Derby County I'm talking about. And as long as I've been alive, we've never been a dominant force. So hopefully in the coming years we can do it.
Absolutely. Niall, look, I just want to say thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know it's early morning there in LA, but it's honestly been great to speak to you. I think we could have spoken maybe for a lot longer, because we've only touched 100%. The surface on some of those subjects there. So maybe in the future, when we hear a bit more news about this initiative, it'd be great to talk to you again about what we can do to get more youngsters involved. So thanks very much, Niall.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks for having me. And anytime, give me a shout, and we'll do a big 2-hour long chat one day.